I'll tell you on it.
Okay, so we're back to this problem with the boxes and the coins. Yeah. Okay, we got this idea from someone from in the smaller case, and it's a really nice idea, so it generalized very well. And I think it works for 12 and 13, but I don't think it works for 14. So you basically pick. So these are your 12 boxes, right? Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, yeah. And you basically get the magician to pick the 4 cards in this kind of pattern, yeah. So you pick these 2 next to each other, yeah. And then you skip 2, and pick 1, and then you skip 1, and you pick another one, okay. So you can get them to do that like anywhere around the circle, yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea, yeah. So what happens is if they're next to each other, right? If the 2 coins are next to each other, you just make sure you open the box that makes the pattern have that part next to it, yeah? See what I'm saying? So like if the coins are ever next to each other, you can just rotate this pattern until this pair is the one that's on top of the coins that are next to each other. Yeah? If the coins are ever one apart, you can just rotate the pattern until these 2 are the ones that are on top of it. It's like a little template. Okay? And if the coins are 2 apart, you can put it here. 3 apart, you can put it here. And if they're 4 apart, you can put it here and here. Yeah? And then the only other case is if they're 5 apart. You put it there and there. So then that'll get all the where's the coins will happen. And it actually works for 13 as well. Because 13, they can only be ever 5 apart as well. Yeah? Yeah, I guess one of the ways the idea kind of comes is because they can only ever be so far apart, right? And you can kind of assume they're that far apart in some ways because if they're close to each other, then they're covered by these sort of sub cases. So you can basically kind of assume one is over here and one is over there. And then you have to pick 2 next to each other for this kind of thing to work because they might be next to each other. Yeah?
So which one would the magician pick? I mean the assistant pick?
Okay, yeah. So like say for example, the assistant opens this one, yeah? And then the magician knows, okay, well he has to pick the next card, skip 1, pick the card after that, skip 2, pick the next 2 cards, yeah? And so you can keep doing, you can rotate this indefinitely.
Oh.
Yeah, and so the idea kind of came when we were looking at like one of the smaller cases, say like 7 or 8. Like there'll be 3, like if the coins are far apart, there'll be like 3 in between, right? And the idea was to pick 1 of these 3. Because then like if they're far apart here, there might be a gap. If there's no gap, then they're next to each other, so that'll cover it. So you can just assume there's a gap. See? And and you don't really need any more gaps because you've already got all those distances covered. Yeah, I guess the point is there's only really like a few cases to consider. They can be next to each other, 1 apart, 2 apart, 3 apart, 4 apart, or 5 apart, and that's arranged. If it's arranged in a circle, that's like all the cases, and you can set that up by using that pattern of 2. Skip 2, 1, and skip 1, 1. Yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, and I guess you can check that it works for 13 too.